Am I the asshole? For banning my nephew from my house. My sister and I built our houses next to each other. My house just completed in June and we moved in on closing day. Her house was built at the end of 2020 and they moved in shortly after. My parents moved into my house in November to help out with my newborn daughter. This will help with context for later. My sister has a toddler who I love dearly, but at the end of the day my nephew is a toddler who touches everything. He gets his fingerprints on all of my windows, sliding doors, and into everything. My sister is chasing after him, cleaning up every step, and washes my windows before she leaves. Over Thanksgiving we hosted in my brand new house and had about 15 people including kids ranging from 2–17. My nephew drew in crayons on my floor. My sister immediately took the crayons away and cleaned my floor. Living next to each other and our parents living with me, we see each other almost daily. My sister goes on walks every day and usually her and my nephew pop in to see our parents and anyone else at my house. My parents will let them in all the time and they usually only stay for 20 minutes to an hour. I went back to work and made the decision to not let my nephew come to my house when my parents are home and I'm not. I told my mom she can't focus on my daughter and her grandson at the same time. I told my parents they are more than welcome to go to my sister's house for a visit to see their grandson, he just can't come over to my house when I'm not home. My sister is allowed to come over on her own when I'm not home, just not with my nephew. My mom went to my sister's house a couple of days ago and broke the news to her that her son is not allowed at my house unless I'm there. I haven't had time to tell her myself and my mom thought it would be harder continuing to turn my sister away while I'm at work. Now I'm hearing from family members that I'm too materialistic and I care more about my house than I do letting my parents spend time with their grandkids. TDLR, I might be TA because I don't want my nephew getting my house dirty while I'm at work. So, you don't think your daughter will get her mucky fingerprints all over and draw on the walls and floors? Oh honey, you're in for a rude awakening. You're the asshole. You do realize your child will one day be like this and ruin your house, right? Your sister does her best to clean up after him and you are focusing on the fact that it happens when all toddlers are like this. You're the asshole. The toddler is toddlering and your sister is actively cleaning it up. It would be different if she was dismissing it. I told my mom she can't focus on my daughter and her grandson at the same time. You're the asshole for this sentence alone. By the way, they are both her grandkids. You're the asshole. I mean, you're welcome to set these boundaries, but you have a baby. If you think your baby isn't going to grow and create those same messes. You're the asshole, your sister cleans up after the toddler. You better learn real soon to loosen up or you're going to be in trouble when your newborn is no longer a newborn. Like you're seriously bitching over fingerprints on the windows that your sister cleaned up. Info, do you plan on banning your data from your house once she start doing the same toddler stuff? This is tough. On one hand it's your property so you should decide who is on it and what they do. On the other hand it sounds like your sister does clean up after him so you aren't having to deal with regardless. In that sense you are quite literally putting the idea of someone making a mess over your actual family member even though said mess isn't actually affecting you. For that I think you're the asshole unless he has done permanent damage. Also not sure why grandparents can't just hang out at her house and not bother with yours. You're the asshole. This is overkill. Big overreaction. You'll see when your kid starts walking. You're the asshole. Toddlers are messy. It sounds like your sister is doing a good job of keeping up with said kiddo. Currently, you are picking your home over your nephew. It's a house. It's a material object. Is it worth damaging your relationship with your family? No material objects should be valued more than a few fingerprints. You said he isn't breaking things, he is just toddling, and apparently that is too much for you. Your poor sister must be exhausted being around you. You're the asshole. Kids are messy, and yours will be too once she's mobile and feeding herself. Just hire a weekly housekeeper, get a Roomba or 3 and survive. Once they are older you can have nice things again. Crumbs and smudgy fingerprints are nothing. You'll be looking back on those minor messes in a year wondering WTH you were thinking. My nibblings were not messy hyperactive kids by any measure, and broken windows and clogged toilets were the norm. Info: are you prepared to have your child banned from your sister's house in return? She will be a toddler eventually. You're the asshole. 1. Why can't your mother watch 2 kids at one time? Millions of parents across the globe have more than one child. 2. Your own child will be doing these things very soon. You might as well start to accept that toddlers are messy. 3. You definitely are putting your material things ahead of relationships. Your mother can barely see her grandson who lives next door. You're the asshole. They make things like playpens for kids if you want to corral them to a particular area of your home. Lay some paper on the floor and let your nephew know he can color on that, not on the floor. Don't punish him for being a typical toddler. You have a newborn. Do you expect in 2 years that your child will not be doing the same thing? Flip the script: 2 years from now you get banned from your sister's house because of your toddler. How do you feel? You're the asshole. Grandparents certainly can watch 2 children at once. After all, they raised you and your sister. Toddlers leave fingerprints. Get used to it, because your kid will, too. You value your house, which is perfectly reasonable, but you seem to value it more than you value people, which makes you TA. Info: what happens where your daughter turns into a toddler and starts getting fingerprints everywhere? Will she be banned, too? You're the asshole. No question for me, and pretty entitled to be using your parents in this way. Put your child in daycare and lock your house up for the day, and the problem is sorted. If your sister is cleaning up after him, then I don't see this being that big of a problem. I can't really say you're the asshole, though. It is your house and you decide who gets to be there. Info: does he only get things dirty? i.e., is it only cleaning work? Or does he also break and damage stuff? You're the asshole. You realize your baby is going to toddle soon, right? You're the asshole. You're the asshole. Hope you manage to develop some compassion before your own child is toddler age. 100. You're the asshole. He's a toddler. A toddler. What expectations do you have of him? You have a newborn. Wait a year and you'll get it. Hopefully your sister will ban her from her house for acting like a normal child of that age to give you a taste of your own medication. You will regret the damage this will do to the relationship with your sister family once your child becomes a toddler's. Life is messy, so are toddlers. Soft. You're the asshole here. It's your house, so you have every right to not have people over. However, let's talk about what's wrong with this attitude. Firstly, your sister does not leave the messes, you acknowledge she cleans them up immediately. Secondly, you're saying that your mom, who I'm assuming is your babysitter, can't focus on both of her grandchildren at once. Do you think people can't hold friendships or even parent-child relationships with multiple people and manage to give them the same attention? There are so many compromises here that you haven't even tried. Why can't your nephew visit in one room, aka the kitchen, where the adults can all have coffee and watch the kids? Your parents aren't overwhelmed. W2 kids, and your sister is doing an amazing job cleaning up after her child. You need to compromise here or expect your family to distance themselves. You're the asshole. You're the asshole. Toddlers are going to explore and make messes. It's how they learn. Your child will eventually be a toddler and you can't kick her out. You're the asshole. Wow. WOW. You're the asshole, man. The house will be cleaned. That precious time spent with family won't be as abundant for the kid if you just straight up ban him if you're not there. And having her come over without her son when she visits? What kind of shit is that? LOL. OP should have made this clearer, as they are both girls, not brother and sister. Not the asshole. If she lives next door, why can't they spend time with him at her house? You are entitled to not have someone else's kid mess up your house.